and we think about what we know of as epiphany as we think of it as the manifestation or the appearing. How do you think of epiphany in your life? So I invite you all to chime in. How you think of epiphany in your life?
It makes me think of a book which I read years ago by H.A. Williams, and I can't even remember, but it was about epiphany and how in our life we have epiphanies all the time, and it's just the idea of seeing the miraculous as we walk through each day, or we see the epiphany as we walk through each day. And in his book he talked about tennis, and it was, having an epiphany playing a tennis game. I mean, the most mundane of things, you can have an epiphany. It all depends on your way of perceiving and the recognition of the significance, where the most simplest mundane thing can be the most divine in many ways.
Yes, yes.
Curcio would address it and say, your moment closest to Christ, which is like where you see in Jesus.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the interesting thing about that is you often don't know it's that at the time. It's only a step back and the reflection, and you say, ah. Sometimes an epiphany, though, is more like, or sometimes you do know. Sometimes you do go, oh gosh, this has got to be my moment closest to Christ this week.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like you look back and you go, ooh, yeah, Christ was really working in that. But I think most people think of epiphany as that sudden,
Right.
realization of something.
A great revelation.
Yeah.
The light bulb goes on.
The light bulb, the aha moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does anybody know when that word crept from liturgy into modern usage for the aha moment? I'd just be curious, anybody had any idea?
I'm not sure that it did because it's a Greek word, and so it isn't simply a liturgical word. It is a.
So it would have been there all along, and it can be used another way.
Right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So when you think of spirituality of epiphany, the way you describe it is a very good way to describe it. Of these moments, the moments when the light goes on.
I just think that so often in life, let's say people who maybe don't go to church, you're missing these incredible moments where I call them these miraculous moments or God incidents where you know that God is with you, has been involved with what's happened in your life in some of the simplest ways.
Right. I remember when I was in college, I was out, it was dark, and I went to school in the mountains. So when it was dark, it was dark. So I was on the side of a hill. I was just kind of leaning back and looking up and just kind of listening because it was quiet. There was a river down a little further, so I kind of hear that river. And as I was just looking up, I suddenly had this epiphany. There's no other word for it. Where it struck me how small I was. How huge the world is. And I felt like I was just kind of being drawn up into it, in the middle of it. And it was this odd moment of feeling wrapped in love. In the midst of this hillside in the dark with the little crickets here and there and it was an astonishing moment, and I can't even really put words to it. But I would say that was a real epiphany, a real spiritual awakening for me. I wondered if others have had things that were struck you like that, and if you wanted to share them,
I had that feeling when I was in Vietnam. I was stationed in a small little island, and it was a straight 200-foot drop cliff down to the South China Sea. And at night, there's no lights or anything, so you see every star in the sky. And at night, all these little fishing boats would go out into the South China Sea. And it was like sitting on the edge of the world. And the stars were up here, and they just kept down, looked down in the ocean, and all those little boats with little stars. And I said, how little I am, you know, in this vast, wonderful, crazy world, you know. And it was just where I was, and, you know, the feeling you get being there, you know, it was like, definitely, how great thou art. Amazing.
Connie and I went once to visit my father who lived in eastern Washington, east of the Cascade Mountains. And there at night, it was a big development. People came and built their own houses. And it was the edge of Weyerhaeuser Forest for the timber. So there's nothing there. And you go out at night, you go, Connie especially, she grew up in Philadelphia, so when she see the night sky, nothing.
Doesn't look anything like Philadelphia.
So she look at all those stars, and I can see the Milky Way, oh my goodness. It's just